Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Let's get through this quickly. Current blood sugar is at 7.4, three-quarters of the way calibrated. So I was up at 4:30 today, so it's now 6:30, so 2 hours. I have 0.65 units. I just recently got a correction, and that's where that's from. And that gave me 0.675. So that's where the insulin's going into me, because they did start to peak and go up. So we'll see how I go. Okay. Otherwise, it's been pretty stable throughout the night. Had a good night's rest. And where are we now? Current time is 100%. Average time, or average sugar, is at 6.4. And that's probably where I was just before. So, all in all, one day I'm going to test it and do a blood sugar, but until then, we'll see. Today, I want to discuss keep on going. How do I keep on going? It's all a big secret. No, I think you've pretty well answered the question if you watched any of my other videos. But we're going to discuss it today. So we're going to take a look at how do I keep on going? I'll be right back. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay, how do I keep on going? Well, part of the reasoning why is nowadays there's so much tools that are able to let you know what your blood sugar is doing. Second of all is I come from an era where you really didn't have control over your diabetes. I can remember my father saying something just when I was diagnosed, which actually sort of came true. Oh, well, there's Bobby Clark, and he does things different on game days and when there's not game days, and you really should look into doing that. Well, at that point, I was just doing my normal routine. But during that time, after you went through your diagnosis, you had to go see your doctor every 3 months. And in those 3 months, you got a blood test in the vein or finger poke or whichever way. And they did what they do in the back room, and they came out with a blood sugar. Your doctor, if you were way out, you might receive a phone call. If it wasn't urgent, you were doing fine and you went on your merry way. The problem with that whole feature was bad habits. And I'm a poster boy for bad habits during my late teen, early 20s. I just kind of lost interest. And it wasn't until I got into seeing endocrinologist, Dr. Wallace, who kind of turned me around and really kind of taught me how much better you can feel when you have your blood sugars in line. So I never forgot what the feeling is when I'm sick with high blood sugars, and I don't want to go back there. One blood sugar being up is usually not too bad. It's when they settle in. And last September, I had an issue where I kept giving insulin and nothing was working. And I eventually went into DKA. That was not a fun thing, and I don't know why. When I showed up at the emergency, I was quite ill. And what keeps me going? Like, why do I care if my blood sugar's in line? Because I don't want to go back to that feeling of not knowing where my blood sugar's at. And yeah, my body could eventually get used to that again. But why? When you feel better having lower numbers, and when I'm saying low numbers, I'm not talking below 3.9. I'm talking between 3.9 and 10. Those are acceptable numbers. I kind of have a fun time and celebrating and saying, I'm at 100%. Now, I could have one blood sugar that lasts for a long period of time that could knock that out of the water. But I don't dwell on that. If I end up tomorrow being 94% or 72%, well, I'm not going to be totally happy about it. It doesn't sort of affect me in saying, oh, well, there's no point. What I've gone through with my blood sugars, trying to keep them in control, is nerve-wracking. And one of the time I went back into the hospital that's attached to this facility, and in there, the emergency nurse who also works in this facility, said, well, why don't you just let the nurses take care of it? You're such a problem that the nurses would have a much better control. And I said, no, I've been there where the nurses have been in control, and it doesn't work. I can respond quicker to my highs than they can. I can identify when I'm low, and if I'm able to treat it, diabetes could come secondary to whatever other ailments. That's my driving force. Your driving force may be something different. You may have had a heart scare. You may just want to be there for your kids. Whatever it takes, you have to find that. And sometimes you could have very spiritual effect in finding what keeps you going. Other times, it kind of just shows up in your lap. For me, it's where doctors really don't always know what the best route is. I had a doctor. He wasn't really my doctor. I had to go in for a test of some sort, and it required an operating room, so an anesthesiologist was going to put me under. And he came in and said, I had this phone call from this doctor. I said, Dr. Wallace? He said, yes. And he said, not to take off your pump, but I've never had insulin being given. I don't know whether you're going to be stable enough and have blood sugars. And I said, well, you normally check blood sugars while the person's under, don't you? So I want to train as many people about diabetes care from my point of view. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not any kind of medical professional. I'm just a diabetic who's had the disease for 47 years. And each year, I gain more knowledge. Sitting here and doing these talks has got me learning a lot more. I've asked questions of my doctor, of my diabetic nurse, and I've learned before doing these talks, this system and the reports it generates, I couldn't read. But now I can. Now I look forward to seeing what's my blood sugars numbers and where do they rate. Excuse me for a second. I had an itchy nose I had to deal with. But you have to find something within you that drives you to do it. If you don't have that drive, and for me, it was the feeling I get with having normal blood sugars. I like that feeling so much. I don't feel lows. If I felt lows, I probably would be able to respond more. I rely on readings from my pump. So you do what you have to do. But that's my drive. I won't stoop to really low levels and try to figure out, like, just keep injecting insulin all the time. Yeah, my blood sugar will go down. Yeah, let's just inject. And then I'll never have to worry about it. And I'll get all the doctors off my case. Oh, yeah. No, that's not for me. I went through an era of me not caring. And it got me my eye issues. Sorry, I don't know why I'm itching. My eye issues. It got my legs. It got my stomach. So now, would I have gotten those anyway? I don't know. But all these things keep the drive in me. And telling you about my experiences all the time and where my blood sugar's at, I want good numbers to report. And if I don't get good numbers, it's not the end of the world. Find your drive and stick to it. You will reap the benefits. Have a good day, and we'll be right back. My next vlog topic will be Okay, does it ever get easier? That's going to be tomorrow's topic. So I hope you can join us tomorrow, and we'll get in to me discussing where I was when I was diagnosed to where I am now. And is it easier? Is it not easier? And how you can achieve this. Have a great day. We'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld at gmail.com.